For the first rule, do not give a hint in the body of the question. So for the example is the Philippines gained its independence in 1898 and therefore celebrated its centennial year in 2000. So the statement above is false because 100 years from 1898 is not 2000 but 1998. For rule number 2, avoid using the word always, never, often, and other adverbs that tend to be either always true or always false. For example, Christmas always falls on a Sunday. So notice in this example is there's a word false because it is a Sabbath day. For explanation, statements that use the word always are always almost false. A test-wise student can easily guess his way through a test like this, even if he does not know anything about the test. Rule number 3, avoid long sentences which tend to be true. You have to keep sentences short. Example, journalism is a timely reporting of events of the local, provincial, national, and international levels. It involves the gathering of information through interviewing and research, the results of which are turned into a fair and balanced story for publication or for television and or radio broadcast. So notice that the statement is already true, is already correct, but it does not have to be long. Rule number 4, avoid a systematic pattern for the true and false statements. Example, sonnet 18 is written by William Shakespeare. So the answer in the given item is false since the username of the author is misspelled. So in the example, the spelling of Shakespeare is SHAKESPIERRNE. So the correct spelling is SHAKESPEARE. So for rule number 5 is to avoid ambiguous sentence which can be interpreted as true and at the same time false. Example, verb is not an action word. Instead, it describes the word. For explanation, answer is false, since everyone knows that verb is an action word. And those are the 5 rules in constructing your true and false tests. Thank you.
Matching type test is designed to measure students' ability to single out pairs of matching phrases, words, or other related facts from separate lists. It is basically an efficient arrangement of a set of multiple choices and items with stems that is called premises. So when we say premises, it's having the same set of possible alternative answers. So here are the guidelines in constructing a matching type test. Number 1, specify the basis for matching type premises with the responses. Sound testing practice dictates that the directions spell out the nature of the task. It is unfair and unreasonable that the student should have to read through the stimulus and response list in order to discern the basis for matching. Be sure that the whole matching exercise or test is found only in one page because there is an instance that splitting the exercise is very confusing, distracting, and time-consuming for the student. We should avoid including too many premises on one matching item. So if a matching exercise is too long, then the task becomes so tedious, or it's too long as what I've said, and the discrimination is too fine. Number 4, both the premises and the responses in the same general category or class, like for example, inventors to inventions, authors to literary works, and objects to characteristics. And last but not the least, premises or responses must be composed of 1 or 2 words that should be arranged alphabetically. So for the supply type test or writing completion items, this type of test items require the students to associate an incomplete statement with a word or phrase recalled from their memory. So each completion test item contains a blank, which is the students must fill in correctly with 1 word or a phrase. And in as much as the student is required to write the correct response, the completion item is a form of supply item. And in this test, it is very useful for testing or in specific facts. So here are our guidelines in constructing a supply type test. So for number 1, as a general rule, it is best to use 1 blank in a completion item. For number 2, the blank should be placed near or at the end of the sentence. For number 3, we should give a clear instructions indicating whether a synonyms will be correct and whether the spelling will be a factor in scoring. Number 4, we should be definite enough in the incomplete statements so that only 1 correct answer is possible. For number 5, we should make sure to avoid using direct statements from the textbook with a word or 2 missing. And lastly, all blanks for all items should be of equal length and long enough to accommodate the longest response.
A generalization of a true-false test. The multiple choice types of test offer the student with more than 2 options per items to choose from. Each item in a multiple choice test consists of 2 parts: the stem and the option. The set of options, there is a correct or a best option, while the other are considered distractors. Rule number 1. Phrase the stem for only 1 correct, a best answer. Do not use unfamiliar words, terms that phrases the ability of the item to discriminate or its level to difficult should stem from the subject matter rather than from the wording of the question. Example: what would be the system reliability of a computer system whose slave and peripherals are connected in peripheral circuits? Each has a known time to failure, probability 0.05. A student completely unfamiliar with the term slave and peripherals may not be able to answer correctly even if he knew the subject matter of reliability. Rule number 2. Avoiding giving away the answer in the stem. Do not use modifiers that are vague and whose meaning can differ from one person to the next, such as much, often, usually, and etc. Example: much of the process of photosynthesis takes place in the A. bark, B. leaf, and C. stem. The qualifier much B is vague and could have been replaced by more specific qualifier like 90% of the photosynthetic process, or some similar phrase that would be more than phrases. Rule number 3. Choose distractions properly. Avoid complex or awkward words arrangement. Also avoid use a negative in stems as T may add unnecessary comprehensions difficulties. Example: poor. As a president of the Republic of the Philippines, Corazon Aquino Corazon would stand next to which president of the Philippines Republic subsequent to the 1986 EDSA revolution? Who was the president of the Philippines after Corazon C. Aquino? Rule number 4. Choose distractions to they are all equally plausible and attractive. Do not use negative or double negatives as such a statement tend to be confusing. It is the best than sentences that would be require expert in grammatical constructions. Example: which of the following will not cause influences in the Philippines economy? Better, which of the following will come influential in the Philippines economy? Poor. What does the development pattern occur during the patterns occurred during the primitive years are not unchangeable imply? But what does the statement develop pattern occur during the primitive year and changeable imply? Rule number 5. Phrase questions so that they will test higher understanding skills. Each item stem should be shortened as possible. Otherwise, you risk testing more for year and comprehension skills. And that would be all. Thank you.
So there you have it, guys. I hope you've learned so much, and I hope that this lesson or module will provide you a informative and can help you assess in your future learning. Thank you for watching.